Let's watch each deleted scene from A New Hope together in its entirety, and then I'll give my thoughts on it, and you guys can let me know what you think in the comment section below. I understand that if these scenes were left in the movie, I'd probably have a completely different take on them. The fact that they were deleted gives us a little fun opportunity to speculate and wonder if they should have stayed in the movie, or if it was a good idea to leave them out completely. First up, Aunt Beru pouring some blue milk.
Action.
I have to speculate here that while Aunt Beru was pouring blue milk, we would have heard Luke and Uncle Owen talking in the background, maybe muffled, setting up the conversation to come. Maybe that's the case, maybe they just didn't put the audio on top of this scene, but that's how it seems like it should have been, and it seems like that's the only way this scene would have been effective or even fit. Otherwise, we would just have Aunt Beru pouring some blue milk in silence for 20 seconds. I do like how we get to see more of the interior of the farm. The kitchen has a very 70s sci-fi vibe, which I'm always a sucker for. Are we as audience members missing out on anything vital to the story by having this scene deleted? Not at all. There's a common theme with all of these deleted scenes that we're gonna watch. That theme is a slowdown of pacing. Everyone always says that Lucas's main instruction and order while directing A New Hope was faster and more intense. Can you do that scene over again, but this time faster and more intense? Most of the scenes that were ultimately deleted create lull points in the overall pacing of the film. Let's see if you agree. Next up, Han Solo smooching in the cantina.
Nice moves, old man. Very impressive. Sweetheart, I'm Han Solo.
Now this clip comes from a very long clip of black and white early Cantina footage. Before environment audio was added, it's a really rough cut of what ultimately became the Mos Eisley Cantina scene. I recommend finding this clip and watching it in its entirety. It's interesting to see how movies develop in the editing room. In the full clip, you just hear Luke, Han, and Ben sitting around a table talking with silence on the set. It's really neat to see. But the focus of this clip for me is the girl that Han Solo is necking with. I can see why this clip should have stayed in. Han is a scoundrel, a cocksure narcissist, and in this clip we kind of see him being a womanizer. Well, you can't really call him a womanizer for kissing a girl who seems to be enjoying kissing Han. Whatever, this is Han Solo, and seeing him being super friendly with a lady in the cantina really fits his personality. But the characters of Han Solo and Chewbacca are in the cantina looking out for one another, and this duo is best handed to the audience with no other interference. It's important that we just see the two of them in a dark corner. They're looking for work, nothing else. And this, in my opinion, strengthens their relationship. So having Han sit next to and kiss a cantina patron wouldn't really have hurt anything, but I personally think that is best left out of this scene. Next up, Luke at the Tashi station. It's a long, very long deleted scene, and I debated about cutting it down for the sake of this video, but you guys shouldn't have to go to another video to watch it in its entirety. So, let's give it a watch.
Come on, get in gear.
Come on, shape it up, you guys. Kids! Hey! I didn't know you were back. It's again. Just now. Okay. never expected you to be unworking. Well, the Academy didn't change you.
Oh, I almost forgot. There's a battle going on right here in our system.
Not again, forget it!
What's all the
Can
noise
you come back
about?
down here and play the game?
I think Wormy's got too much sun.
There they are.
That's no battle, hotshot. They're just sitting there. Probably a freighter tanker refueling.
But there was a lot of firing earlier. Hey!
I tell you, Luke, the rebellion's a long way from here. This planet, big hunk of nothing.
I doubt if the Empire would even fight to save the system.
Hey, you watch it.
Don't worry about it, Wormy.
I was so close I thought I was going to find my instruments. As it was, I busted up the Skyhopper pretty bad. And Uncle Owen, furious. He wound up grounding me for the rest of the season. You should have been there. It was fantastic.
You gotta take it a little easy, Luke. You may be the hottest bush pilot this side of Mos Eisley, but those little skyhoppers are dangerous. Keep it up, one day, whammo. You're gonna end up a dark spot on the downside of a canyon wall.
Look who's talking. You've been hanging around the Starfleet so long, you've been sounding like my uncle. You know, you're getting a little soft in the city.
I've missed you, kid.
Yeah, well, things haven't been the same without you, Biggs. It's been so quiet.
Luke, I didn't come back just to say goodbye. I shouldn't tell you this, but you're the only one I can trust. See, I may never come back, and I just want someone to know.
What are you talking about?
I made some friends at the Academy. When our frigate leaves for one of the central systems, we're gonna jump ship and join the Alliance.
The rebellion?
Quiet down. You got a mouth bigger than a meteor.
I'm quiet. Listen how quiet I am. You can barely hear me.
My friend has a friend on Bestine who might help us make contact.
You're crazy. You can wander around forever trying to find them.
I know it's a long shot, but if I don't find them, I'll do what I can on my own. It's what we always talked about, Luke. I'm not going to wait around for the Empire to draft me into service. The rebellion is spreading, and I want to be on the side I believe in.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm stuck here.
You'll get your chance to get off this rock. You're going to the Academy next term, aren't you?
Not likely. I had to cancel my application.
What for?
My uncle needs me.
Oh.
No, I'm serious. The Sand People have been getting really crazy. They've even raided the outskirts of Anchorage.
Come on, Luke. Your uncle could hold off a whole colony of sand people with one blaster.
I know. But we've got almost enough evaporators to make the place pay off. I have to stay one more season. I can't leave him now.
What good's all your uncle's work if the Empire takes it over? You know they've already started to nationalize commerce in the central systems? It won't be long before your uncle's just a tenant, slaving for the greater glory of the Empire.
No, that's not gonna happen here. You said yourself the Empire won't even mess with this old rock.
Things can change.
I wish I was going. Are you gonna be around long?
No. Leaving in the morning.
I guess I won't see you.
Maybe someday. I'll keep a lookout.
Yeah. I'll be at the Academy next season, and then who knows? I won't be drafted into the Imperial Starfleet, that's for sure. Well, take it easy, buddy. You'll always be the best friend I've ever had.
So long, Luke.
Once again, pacing. The scene doesn't really fit with what we know to be the final product of A New Hope, in hindsight of course. I kind of like the idea of Luke looking up with his binoculars and seeing what we know to be a Star Destroyer chasing and firing on a rebel blockade runner. But Luke doesn't mention this to his uncle or aunt, or even Ben Kenobi, or anyone other than Biggs later on in this scene, so to me that seems strange. It seems like he would have immediately told them, especially Kenobi. When Ben talks about the Empire, the Rebellion, the Jedis, you would have think that Luke would have said, "Oh yeah, I saw a space battle overhead earlier today." The fact that this never comes up again is one of the main reasons I'm glad this scene was left out of the movie. Seeing Luke running around and joking with his friends feels a lot like American Graffiti, which was one of Lucas's first movies. Great movie. It was Harrison Ford's pretty big first role. If you haven't seen it, definitely give it a watch. It's teenagers being teenagers, and this short scene of Luke at the Tashi station heavily reminded me of that. But it's a good thing that this scene was deleted. Luke always seemed very isolated to me, like he never got to get out much, never saw his friends because his uncle wanted to keep him around. He always seemed like a kid who did the right thing and maybe followed the orders of his uncle to a fault. So seeing him palling around with his friends kind of breaks the sympathy that you have built up for him. The line, "But I was going into Tashi station to pick up some power converters," is way more powerful than actually seeing Luke going to the Tashi station. Biggs and Luke's relationship seems very genuine in this scene. It's a decent scene and it does humanize Luke a bit, but deleting this scene was a great decision. It also kills the flow. When you have all of your scenes shot and you're in the editing room, one of your goals is to remove scenes that don't add to the story and seem out of place, just kind of seem like filler. This is definitely one of those cases. After all, movies are made in the editing room. A New Hope is a very fluid and focused film, fast and fun. This scene, while it may have been fun to see a group of friends cutting up, would have definitely felt forced if it was left in the final cut. Oh, and there was another deleted scene with Biggs in it, which was ultimately added back into the film in one of the special edition releases. We all know it now, and for most people, they've never seen A New Hope the way it was originally released, with both Biggs scenes being chopped, killing this little side story of friendship. By adding the reconnecting scene and the hangar between Luke and Biggs, and leaving out the scene at the Tashi station, this reconnection doesn't really mean much for the audience. It should have remained left out. I'm just glad they didn't add the Tashi station into the special edition. Next up, Luke and C-3PO looking for R2-D2.
How's that? Yes, that's much better. Old Ben lives out in this direction somewhere. It's just, I don't see how that R2 unit could have come this far. We must have missed him. Uncle Owen's not going to take this very well.
Would it help if you told him it was my fault?
Sure, he needs you. Probably only deactivate you for a day or so.
Deactivate? Well, on the other hand, if you haven't removed his restraining post...
Wait a second, look at, there's a droid on the scanner. Dead ahead. Might be our little R2 unit. Hit the accelerator.
Of course, the last part of this scene was left in, which is good. It connects the search to them finding R2-D2. I like this deleted scene though. It's short, doesn't really add much to the movie, but you kind of see C-3PO looking out for his new master by asking Luke if it would help ease Uncle Owen's anger by blaming the loss of R2-D2 on himself. There's not much to say about this deleted scene. It wouldn't have added anything to the movie if they'd left it in, and it doesn't take anything away from the movie by taking it out. Next up, Stormtroopers searching Mos Eisley.
Check that one. Move to the next block.
Hey Steve, put this pillow in your back. We need an alien. Hey Tom, put this pillow in your ass. We need an alien. They just look goofy. The Stormtrooper search that we know and that stayed in the movie is short, perfectly short. We see C-3PO in the doorway, he says lock the door, Stormtroopers walk up, search the corridor, door's locked, scene's over. If they would have left this entire static shot in there, it would have felt goofy and out of place. It might have been chopped down or spliced in with other angles, but this static deleted scene is all we have to speculate on. I'm definitely glad it was left out. Next up, Darth Vader widening the search.
We've closed the spaceport at Mos Eisley and started a search operation. It's just a matter of time before we find the droids.
Send in more troops if you have to. Her hope, which is the data being used against us, is the pillar of her resistance against the Mind Probe.
Till then, we waste time with Governor Tarkin's foolish plan to break her.
In this clip, Vader is told that the Mos Eisley spaceport has been shut down, and a search operation has begun. I've looked into this clip, trying to figure out whose voice that is for Vader. Everyone seems to think it's David Prowse, the man who physically played Vader, the man who was in the suit. But to me, there's no way that's David Prowse's voice. I've heard David Prowse, and that doesn't sound like him at all. So I don't know who that is. It might just be someone dubbing audio in as a placeholder, or maybe they touched up these deleted scenes when they released them to the public and had someone just read the lines. Who knows? It's odd to me why this scene was chopped. It seems to fit pretty well with the pacing of the movie. It's short, they talk about Mos Eisley and the missing droids. I'm curious why it was left out. If you recognize this clip, it's because you've seen it in the Star Wars Holiday Special. They used this deleted scene in that god-awful hunk of shit and dubbed James Earl Jones's audio over it. So if you ever watch the Holiday Special, pay close attention to the Imperial officer's mouth. What he's saying doesn't match up to how his mouth is moving. Next up, Luke and Biggs' reunion. Now I know this scene was ultimately added back into the movie like I mentioned before. It was deleted out of the original release and added later in a special edition release. But there's a bit more to the scene that was never released. Let's give it a watch.
Luke! I don't believe it. Oh, Big! Hey, how are you?
Oh, are you sure this is what you want?
Listen, have I got some stories to tell you?
You sure you can handle this shit, sir?
Luke is the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim territories.
I met your father once when I was just a boy. He was a great pilot. You've got half the skill he had, you'll do all right.
Little lines like, I met your father once, he was a great pilot, blah blah blah, always make me wonder if the trilogy was really as complete, as written and solidified as George Lucas always said it was from the start. This entire scene should have stayed scrapped. It should have never been added back into the film. We don't know Biggs, because the Tashi station scene stayed deleted. And when we see Biggs, right now for the first time in the film's current state, we don't really care, because we don't know him. It just seems kind of forced. I'm sure it sucked for Garrick Hagon, the guy who played Biggs, being completely chopped out of the movie. That has to be a shitty feeling. It's cool on a different level that he ultimately got his screen time, but I would have rather had the entire Biggs side story stay scrapped. Deleted scenes are interesting. They give us a window into the production. They allow us to speculate on how the story may have changed, how things we know to be true with just a small alteration may have been vastly different than the final outcome. Let me know what you guys think of these deleted scenes. Do you think they should have stayed in? Is it a good thing that they were ultimately removed? Do you think the film would have a different impact on us if these scenes remained in the movie? Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the Hello Greedo Facebook page, follow me on both Instagram and Twitter, and join the Hello Greedo forum at hellogreedo.com. As always, thanks for watching. Hello Greedo, out.
With you, what cannot be done.
It's like doing here. Bad idea.
It's so hot. It's so fucking hot in Florida. It's so fucking hot.